I'm Matt Chorley, and as part of investigating the food chain, I went to a branch of Iceland in Brixton to speak to the supermarket's managing director, Richard Walker, about how the cost of living is changing what people are buying and whether we're all cutting back.
We are losing customers to food banks, but indeed we are also losing customers to hunger.
Then he put me to work in the freezer out the back, and it was a bit cold. And of course, I couldn't go into a supermarket without having a go on the tills. Oh, I failed on the second item. There we go. There we are.
Plastic-free bananas.
Plastic-free bananas, but they have got a barcode, so I don't need to weigh those. Brioche buns. So Richard Walker, Managing Director of Iceland. We're sitting here in the storeroom of the Iceland in Brixton. If shoppers are going into stores looking for, little tricks to try and save money, what's your advice to them? Is there particular times of the day? Are there particular things to keep an eye out for? How can people, make their money go a little bit further, do you think?
I know I would say this, but buy frozen because it is cheaper, but also you eliminate your food waste. So we put families through a study with Manchester Met University on a diet of all chilled fresh food and then an equivalent all frozen, and they save thousands of pounds every year. So it really is a great way because you use what you need and then you can store it, put it away in the freezer and reuse it again.
And what about the sort of carbon footprint, if you like, between if I get a fresh carrot or I get one out of the frozen?
Yeah, it's an interesting debate. So if you buy from a fresh fish counter at one of our unnamed competitors, actually it's probably air freighted in from Norway. Or if it's fresh tuna, that's coming a very long way. So if you look at the boats that are frozen containers, yes, it's comes from a long way, but actually because they hold a lot of density of stock, it's actually lower carbon per product. So I always say that actually frozen food is lower carbon as well.
And I suppose if you take into account, if you buy 8 carrots but you throw 2 of them away, then suddenly there's an impact there as well.
Yeah, and also it's more efficient in terms of food manufacturing. We've been using wonky veg for 50 years because our frozen carrot batons, it doesn't matter what shape or size they are, they all get sliced up and diced. Same with our frozen onions.
And what sort of things are you seeing that people are buying more of or buying less of as they try to make their money go further?
Our value ranges are doing well. I mean, we're definitely seeing that. Our core staples, those £1 lines that I was talking about, which are really, really important to a real core audience of our customer. But then interestingly, we're seeing our premium ranges do better as well because people are turning to Iceland to look for value, where previously potentially they haven't shopped there. So overall, our sales are actually very healthy. The challenge that we face is keeping the costs in check, and it is a perfect maelstrom of different pressures at the moment. Our profits are well down, and we're having to balance that as best we can.
Now, some of the polling that we looked at this week, we asked people how healthy is your diet. Lots of people said their diet wasn't that healthy. But I think of those, about 1 in 10, possibly more, said it's because they can't afford to eat healthily. Quite often it's sort of well-off middle-class people who sort of say, well, why don't they just rustle themselves up a nice fresh risotto? And, is it the case that if you are struggling to make ends meet, it is harder to eat healthily?
No, if you're buying right. And actually, if you want the healthiest, most nutritionally rich vegetables, buy them frozen. Or the same with fish, because it's frozen as soon as it's caught, so all the nutrients are locked in. So there's a big argument to say actually frozen food is healthier as well, so long as you're buying it right. I think there's also, as you pointed to, an interesting kind of middle class misconception around frozen food, but also around some of the deals that we offer. Someone in the House of Lords recently called buy one, get one free, morally absurd. But actually what they don't realise is that that's a key mechanism that some of our customers really rely on to feed their families. So I think the whole debate needs to be turned around. And actually you look at food waste, our customers are the absolute experts in food waste. It's not about a celebrity chef selling you how to whiz up some pesto out of disused carrot tops. If you only have 25 quid a week spent on food, the absolute insights come from people like our customers, because they believe me, if you've got 25 quid a week spent on food, you're not wasting a penny.
And actually, if you're really struggling to make ends meet right now, you just try to stretch your budget, buying yourself a tub of ice cream or bar of chocolate, that might be the one thing that puts a smile on your face that day. To begrudge people having something that's nice when, as part of their weekly shop. It's very easy to do that from the comfort of thinking, well, we might have to cut back on one of our holidays this year.
Yeah, of course, and making value judgments on others, it's not right. Unfortunately, though, in a cost of living crisis, it is food that is the elastic discretionary spend. If you you don't have a choice about rent or council tax, and that's the big issue. That's why we're trying to promote things like ethical credit, because we're seeing people basically spending less on food, and that means they're either driven to food banks. And the absurdity of a G7 country having more food banks than branches of McDonald's is morally reprehensible, or just going hungry. And actually, for every one person that goes to a food bank, 8 hungry people can't access them for whatever reason. So we are losing customers to food banks, but indeed we are also losing customers to hunger.
Does that worry you? Is that why you're willing to take a sort of financial profit hit? Because you know the alternative, because of where you are in the sort of retail landscape, if your customers can't afford to shop here, it means they're probably not going to eat.
Yeah, in some instances that is true. So it's absolutely the right thing to do for our communities, the customers we serve, and we're proud of the initiatives that we're doing. But quite frankly, we're going to work day and night to come up with all the ideas that we can until we get through this cost of living crisis. It is incumbent on us. It's easy to point the finger at government and anyone else, but actually everyone's got to play their bit, and we're proud of the work we're doing and that our colleagues are doing.
Now, we're sitting in an Iceland store. You're the boss of Iceland. Do you ever go into any other supermarkets? Is there like something that only Waitrose do that you really like, or do you just never set foot in them?
No, there is. I mean, like many shoppers nowadays, I'm promiscuous. We shop around. And yeah, obviously, I'll shop in Iceland a lot. We actually have a shop next to our head office, so I'll buy all my staples there. But of course, there will be some foods that I may buy from other competitors very occasionally.
You're not going to tell me what they are you?
Of course not.